All right, let's just dive right in. This is maybe the biggest, most powerful objection you hear, right? How can you believe in a good God when the Bible seems to be okay with slavery? Well, today, we're not just going to answer that question. We're going to flip it completely on its head.
So the argument almost always kicks off with this really direct, really powerful charge. And honestly, it hits us right where we live, in our moral core. And you feel that, don't you? The claim is so simple and potent. It basically says any book or any God that would even tolerate slavery has to be morally bankrupt. It feels obvious. But that feeling, that sense of obviously, is exactly where we have to start digging.
Now, I have to be absolutely crystal clear here. This is not, and I repeat, not a defense of the horrifying race-based chattel slavery we saw in the modern world. Not at all. This is a different question. It's a question about the ground beneath our feet when we get outraged. What makes our condemnation of slavery more than just our 21st century opinion?
Because it turns out, that first objection against God, it's smuggling in a massive claim about morality itself without even telling you. And there it is. That's the hidden assumption. The person making the argument isn't just saying, I don't like slavery. They're making a huge philosophical claim that slavery is objectively evil, that it's wrong always, everywhere, for everyone. And you know what? A claim that big needs a foundation strong enough to hold it up.
So really, we have two basic options on the table. Is morality objective, kind of like math, where 2 + 2 = 4, whether you like it or not? Or is it subjective, like your favorite ice cream flavor, where saying chocolate is the best is really just your opinion?
And this is what happens if you go with the second option. If morality is just a cultural vibe, then we lose any real basis to condemn other cultures. All we can say is, that's not how we do things. And that just feels totally wrong, doesn't it? Something in us screams that slavery was wrong, period.
Okay, so if our feelings and cultural vibes aren't a strong enough foundation for objective evil, where else can we look? How do we find a standard that doesn't just change with the wind?
Just think about the word slavery itself. It's meant wildly different things over time. You had ancient debt servitude, which was often temporary and came with legal protections. Then you had the absolute brutality of race-based chattel slavery, founded on kidnapping. And today, we use the word for everything from bad internships to being in debt. If our sense of wrong is tied to these shifting cultural feelings, our moral compass is basically built on quicksand.
And here is the really scary part. A morality that's just evolving has no built-in guarantee that it's evolving for the better. It can just as easily evolve backward into something truly monstrous. And if there's no fixed standard, who's to say that new, horrible direction is actually wrong?
So let's put some of the most popular secular attempts to create a moral anchor to the test. Let's see if any of them can actually universally and without exception condemn slavery.
All right, let's kick the tires on these. First up, cultural relativism. This says that a pro-slavery culture is morally right for them. We lose all ability to judge. Then you've got utilitarianism. Do what creates the most happiness. Well, what if enslaving a small minority makes the vast majority really, really happy? The math could actually work out. How about a social contract where morality is just what we all agree on? The powerful can just outvote the powerless. The slave owners make an agreement and it's moral. And finally, evolutionary ethics. In nature, the strong often dominate the weak for survival. It gives us no reason to say justice is better than exploitation.
So you see the problem, right? Each of these theories can give us a story about why we have these moral feelings, but not a single one can give us the solid ground we need to stand on and say that slavery is truly and universally evil, even if the whole world voted for it.
And this is what leads us to the other option, the alternative that's being presented here. A standard that's not grounded in shifting human ideas, but in something or someone totally outside of us. So the Christian claim is that goodness isn't some arbitrary list of rules that God just made up one day. No, it's a reflection of his actual character. It's like saying warmth is a reflection of fire. Justice and love aren't just things God does, it's who God is.
And this is why, from this perspective, slavery is objectively evil. It's not just a bad social policy, it's an act of cosmic treason. To take a human being who is stamped with the very image of God and treat them like a tool or an animal, that's a direct assault on reality itself.
So now we can circle back to that first charge about the Bible. And here we have to make a huge distinction. The kind of race-based, kidnapping-fueled chattel slavery of the Atlantic, that was a death penalty offense in the Old Testament.
The laws you actually see in the Bible are regulating existing ancient practices, like debt servitude, and they were often introducing radical new protections in human rights. The whole story of the Bible is moving toward this radical equality for all people, and that's exactly why the great abolitionist movements in history were fueled by people waving this book, not some other one.
And this is the twist in the whole story. That deep down, unshakable feeling you have, that gut certainty that slavery is pure evil. The argument is that this feeling doesn't come from your culture or your biology. It's an echo. It's an echo of a divine standard that's written on your heart. You're actually using God's own moral compass to try and navigate your way into an argument against him.
So where does that leave us? It leaves us with a really direct challenge. And it's about the source and the meaning of our own deepest moral convictions.
So I'll ask you directly, what's your anchor? If it's not the majority vote and it's not just your personal feelings, what is it? What makes slavery evil yesterday, today, and tomorrow, even if everyone on the planet suddenly decided it was a great idea?
And you know, the Christian claim actually goes one step further than just giving us a moral standard. It says the root of all oppression is our own spiritual slavery to sin, to selfishness, to our brokenness. And it offers a way out, a real freedom that actually changes your heart so that you begin to hate oppression too.
So we'll just end on this thought. What if that burning fire in your gut, your righteous anger at injustice and slavery, what if that isn't an argument against God at all? What if it's actually a homing beacon, a signal pointing you back to the very source of justice, proving that you are made in the image of a God who hates evil even more than you do?